This video is about using earth palette dyes to dye solid colours. Earth palette dyes are particularly good for hand painting, yarn and fibre, but you can also use them to dye a solid colour. Today we are only dyeing a 50 gram skein of yarn, so I've got 75 mils, which is the recommended amount to use. The recommended amount is 150 mils of dye liquor for 100 grams of yarn, but because we're only using 50 grams, I've got 75 mils of dye liquor. In this jug I've got water with a little bit of extra vinegar or citric acid in it. Because I'm diluting the dye, the earth palette dyes, they need to be in an acid medium to set, and that is usually mixed in with the dye liquor, but because I'm diluting the dye, I need to add a little bit more into here. Okay, so I'm just going to add the dye liquor into there, stir it up. Hand painting will take a lot more dye because it absorbs fairly quickly on a superwash yarn. So this is the recommended amount, 75 mils of dye liquor for a 50 gram skein of yarn. So I'm just going to put it in. Oh, I might have overfilled the container a bit there. And lift it up and down a bit, moving it around so I get reasonable coverage with the dye on the skein. This is a superwash yarn and it absorbs dye fairly quickly. As you can see, the water or the liquid in here is getting lighter all the time. I would normally do this in a bucket, but because I want you to see how quickly the dye is being absorbed into the yarn, I'm using a clear jug so that you can have a look at it. Okay, it will be a little bit messy, so make sure you've got some plastic down and a cloth to wipe it up with as well. If you're not happy with the colour of it when you've done this, you can always add a little bit more dye liquor to this and repeat the procedure. You won't need to add any more vinegar or citric acid because that is still dissolved in there. Okay, as you can see, that liquid is almost completely empty of dye. I'll give it a gentle squeeze out. This is superwash, so it's not too much of a worry. There's my yarn, and now I would put it in a plastic bag out in a warm place, and I'm going to leave it overnight and then rinse it out in the morning, and that's all you need to do. These are fibre reactive dyes, so they don't need any heat to set them. Leaving them in a warm place overnight is all you need to do.